Knife TV and the Nutnfancy Project. I'm going to start this video off with the following. Knife buying is an emotional experience for us. It is. Not to the level where we're sobbing, crying. You guys know what I mean. That it's fun for us. That it connects to us on some emotional dude level. Now the girls, they have their shoes, their cell phones, their clothing, their handbags, whatever else they're buying. Last time I checked, it's an emotional experience for them. But we dudes, guys, we're no better. We got our guns, our tactical gear, our cars, and yes, our knives. And it's an emotional thing for us on some level. For instance, here's a question. True or false? Upon seeing it for the first time, like you are this one, perhaps, you will know within 5 seconds of whether you like or hate a knife. If you said true, I agree with you. Totally. I will put an asterisk next to that and say usually true, because there are some big exceptions to that. Knives that I looked at for the first time and I go, oh, that knife is so cool, and I find out it's not so cool, and vice versa. An ugly blade that because of its performance, its utility and role, I love it. This knife, however, the Kershaw 1085 Diskin Hunter, is on some level, I admit, an emotional blade for me because I think it's so good looking. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to check that blade out. That's cool. You guys know that I gravitate towards the classic designs. I don't like unusual, usually funky designs that will come and go, won't stand the test of time. And I think I'm pretty representative of a lot of experienced knife blade guys and gals for that matter, that because of our experience with different blades, we know what we like. And when we see it, we go, that fits the bill. That's something I would like. I've used knives with that shape before. Maybe it's the blade shape, the handle shape, and I know how it's going to perform. As a reviewer, long-time reviewer at this point, that's where I'm at with this Diskin Hunter. As soon as I saw it, I was like, awesome blade. Awesome blade. I can't remember if it was with Kershaw at SHOT Show or at a knife shop, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a cool blade. It is. Welcome to the Nutnfancy Tabletop Review. And I'm going to jump right into philosophy of use, because looks are one thing, performance in role is probably more critical. And that kind of gets back to my intro, where there have been some blades that weren't that good looking and they surprised me and probably surprised you. And they get a very positive review here in the Nutnfancy Project, deservedly so. POU-wise, though, I will first address what Kershaw markets this as, and that is as a hunting knife. Now, I don't do big game hunting nowadays. I grew up as a big game hunter. I, skinned out a few big game animals, elk, deer, bear even, that's right. So I'll draw upon those experiences. And actually, this is interesting, I have several blades out right now with buddies getting tested in big game hunting. And I'm getting reports back to them. You should see that data within, hopefully, the next couple months or so. I don't want to hurry them. So yeah, we have that aspect going on. I myself am not going to do it. But having done it myself, and not just big game animals, but I'm talking smaller game growing up, high school and all that, I kind of know what worked for me and what didn't work. Usually when I'm caping, I'm talking about taking the skin off, a knife like this would work as long as piercing the intestines is not a big deal, because you do have a sharp tip. Maybe a blunt-nosed Skinner blade is better for that. My mileage. You may differ. But it does have some sweep and some belly in it for getting the job done, as long as you're careful with that tip. I'm talking skinning large game. Small game, quartering, I think it would work. We'll talk about the steel choice here in a second, whether that will stand up, be a good rust-resistant choice. Hunting knife, that's what it's for. At least marketed. I think its real calling is first as a collectible, that you just like it, fondling it. It's not that expensive. You're going to love the price on this U.S.-produced Kershaw. That's right, U.S.-produced. Collectible. It's just a fun fixed blade to put in your collection if you have a high value collection going on like I do. It's just cool. Nothing wrong with that. I know, we're sick. How about as a woods blade? That, I think, is a primary philosophy of use for the Diskin Hunter. When I say woods blade, I'm not talking about hacking down a huge tree. It's basically food preparation, maybe some small game skinning, and then kindling preparation. This knife would fit the bill just fine. Wood. It's a stainless blade, and so it's not carbon steel, so you might have some issues with it cracking into really chipping, I should say, in really cold temperatures. I did not test that. I think it'd be fine though. And I'm going to show you some competitive options in that same realm. I really love mid-sized to small-sized woods blades for camp tasks, and that's what the Diskin Hunter is. How about tactical? Well, the traction plan is there. It's not marvelous though. So I would say a big maybe on that. We'll talk more about that here in a second. And that takes us to weight, balance, and feel. Huge win for the 1085 by Matt Diskin, produced by Kershaw. 5.4 ounces. Awesome. Well done. You can credit the knife not being too thick for that. It is obviously full tang. Some of you guys really love the super thick slabs of blade. I think that's really a tactical thing, a marketing thing, where the knife makers, including Kershaw, the zero tolerance division, they're saying, hey, this knife won't fail you. It's really strong. It could pry open a manhole cover. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But the big, thick, fixed blade knives, especially the small ones, I personally don't have much use for, and I don't like them. They're too darn heavy. 5.4 ounces is svelte, light, easy to integrate into so many different systems. There are lighter fixed blades out there. I've reviewed some. Coupled with the sheath, I think it's rocking at 7 ounces. That's a decent carry weight. The feel is excellent. The balance is excellent on the Diskin Hunter. Maybe referencing the tactical philosophy of use if you're into that. Martial blade craft. I'm not. I suck at it. Blade design, steel. Well, I told you it's an emotional blade for me. I'm going to stick with that. Part of it is the blade shape. It's just a beautiful blade shape. I just love it. Unsharpened swedge right here on the top. Nice, precise tip. Good belly, and it is hollow ground. Hollow ground? Nutnfancy, we thought you only like FFG. That's not true. I've reviewed positively lots of HG blades. This is another one. Hollow ground from mid-spine. And by the way, check out those flats on what is pretty much a perfectly sandblasted. It's not sandblasted, but stone-washed finish. Made in the United States again. Dude, that is a nice stonewash on that. I love stonewash. It's very attractive. There's their logo right there. Hollow ground, great edge on it, extremely sharp out of box. Perfect relief edge will lend itself to sharpening. I didn't feel like I had to slap this on my Edge Pro Apex to basically rectify a dicked up factory edge. It's ideal out of box. The steel choice is 14C28N. Adequately rust resistant. It is fine grained, easy enough to sharpen. It's a good steel. It's not my favorite, but it's a good steel. Getting back to the hunting philosophy of use, would it rust with a lot of blood exposure? To be honest, I really don't know. I haven't done it. Look in the comments, so I bet you're going to find someone who has, who's hunted with a 14C28N blade, and they'll let you know. I think it pretty much boils down to taking care of your blade, rinsing them off after you're done, right? So they don't rust. There's an idea. Imagine that. Obviously, a full tang blade, like I said earlier, that makes it strong. I would say strong enough for the philosophy of use, and that takes us to this miss. You guessed it. Jimping that pretty much does nothing. Looks only. Maybe it, I don't know, increases traction 20%. There's something there. Come on, man. If you're going to do jimping, do it right. Do it like Spyderco does on a lot of their blades. Reference the Delica, the Endura, the Tenacious. All kinds of great blades they've done with excellent jimping on them. Not just Spyderco, lots of other manufacturers. Just a thought. But tactical, self-defense role. I would say a qualified yes. Not because the jimping sucks, and it does. The handle, that's why. You kind of got a deep choil here that will protect it, and you have some traction with those G10 scales, which I like the shape on. They're pretty good. See how they're rounded to fit the hand? No sharp edges. In past reviews, I have dinged full tang knives that have a proud tang in relation to the slabs. Proud, I mean it sticks up and it, I don't know, makes it uncomfortable. I will stick with what I've always said ever since I started TMP is that that can transmit cold. I mean, that is metal. If it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit out there, that means it's going to transmit to your hand. Hopefully you have gloves on. Reference my glove reviews. So that's that, but with all its parts, the Diskin actually feels very comfortable in hand, even though it is a proud tang knife. Here's why. One is the radiusing job on the handle scales, and then there's no sharp edges on here either. So it's actually a nice milling job for the handle. Reverse grip, forward grip, works good. I didn't mention a bushcrafting POU, and this is why. I just don't know if that handle is amenable to it. Big word. Will it work? I think genuine bushcrafters, I don't know, the dudes up there carving wooden bowls and crap, they like a more hand-filling, more ergonomic grip for long-term knife use. This ain't it. It's more slender. You might get some hot spots, carpal tunnel, I don't know. So probably not a bushcrafter. Notice it's affixed with torque screws, easy to pop off. I really like that. It's not riveted on, so if you get salt water under it, you can service it. Nice big lanyard hole there. Pretty good for what it is. And that takes us to, I guess, a sheath. This is not super impressive, the sheath. It's black leather. Loop carry option there for the belt. No drainage hole. It's a leather sheath. What do you want from me? When you put it in, it fits pretty good. It's a friction fit, and because it's marketed as a hunting knife, this is the sheath you get. This is a cost saver. If you go with a Kydex or maybe even a Conceal-X or plastic style sheath, which I really wish the Diskin Hunter had. Kershaw, you listening? Make an aftermarket for the Diskin Hunter plastic sheath. It would probably add some cost, but it would be very well worth it because this is going to soak up water, and over time, pouch sheaths loosen up. They just don't have the retention. It's a natural material. That being said, the stitching is good. No huge problems with it. That takes us to a fun part. Competitive options. First, I guess I got to set the value stage, which is truly amazing. $46, give or take. Look in the upper right there where I recommend go getting your 1085 Diskin Hunter for your emotional knife buying experience. I've shown this one before. Here comes a Sog Wood Line large. Speaking of a factory produced, this one's overseas produced, China I believe, yep. 8CR 13 MOV, much heavier because of this portion right here, stainless steel, I think. 9.4 ounces, around $32. I love the Woodland. It's a great knife. And you want to see jimping done right? Talk about that. There you go, squared jimping. Or does I kid around and say gimping? Oh, dude, now that is some freaking awesome jimping. Diskin, do this style of jimping. And by the way, it's sheathed, nothing special. Sog Wood Line. How about this knife? I'll knock the review out on this sometime. This is a Gerber Big Rock, 8 ounces. It's heavier than this one. Reason being is it doesn't have that tapered handle. Also a full tang option, rubber. Very affordable. I think around $26. 8 ounces for the knife itself. I think that's a knife itself. Gerber Big Rock. I love that. I've used that out in the woods, and it's just a great knife. What do I got here? Here it comes. Blackjack Grunt. This is a weird steel. 10CR, what is it? 10CR17? It's a cheap knife. $20. Big old slab of steel. You thick blade loving dudes. There you go. There's a slab of steel for you. Convex ground. I don't know much about that steel, but that's a big knife. It's heavy too. Blackjack Grunt, 12 ounces. It's cheaper than that. US produced one though. How about my oh so favorite Sog Northwest Ranger, wearing a custom sheath from Red Hill Kydex. Keep in mind that Kydex sheath option is going to add weight. It always does. That's why I've said in previous reviews that the plastic sheath, kind of like the Conceal-X that Cold Steel does, that's my favorite. Kydex are cool, it adds weight, and they're pretty expensive if you get it made for you. I know, I make my own Nutnfancy. Northwest Ranger. What a great blade that is. I own like 3 of them. It's just a beautiful blade. Huh, they seem to get the jimping right on that one. Great handle. Go reference my review if you're interested. 8.6 ounces, 9.8 with the Kydex. much heavier than this. Remember, with a sheath, the Diskin Hunter, 7.4 ounces, so it's one of the lightest knives I'm showing you in this lineup. And I had it on the table, don't know where it went. I was going to show you a Kershaw Bear Hunter in the studio. I don't see it. I'll just wrap it up. That's a great knife too, the Kershaw Bear Hunter. Great blade. And it's, I don't know, 9.4 ounces, about 21 bucks, 8CR 13 MOV. Diskin Hunter. Emotional knife blade. You bet. You know, I go out and beat on this thing. I already know how it's going to do. Pretty familiar with it. There are a couple unknowns, I will say. In super cold, I don't know how 14C28N will do. But in camp tasks, the blade shape, I think it'll be just rocking. 46 bucks, maybe more, maybe less, depends. Absolutely, positively worth the money. That is a beautiful, classic design from Kershaw and Matt Diskin. I love it. That's a Nutnfancy review. Have a nice day.